Shri Narayan Sai Maharaj Shri Gurudev, Shri Vedant Shri Ram Singh, the entire Pankari Guru, to all the Vaishnavas. So today is the auspicious tithi of Makar Sankranti. So Sankranti is known by different names all over India. Sankranti is known actually in here in Uttar Pradesh and also in Andhra Pradesh and Maharashtra, Karnataka is known as Sankranti. In Tamil Nadu is known as Pongal. In Assam is known as Magh Bihu, because it appears in Magh Mas. And in Punjab is known as Lola and Maghi. So Lola is one day before Makar Sankranti, they celebrate. And then on the day of Maghi, they celebrate Sankranti in Punjab. And in Meghalaya, they celebrate as Pushan. In Gujarat, Uttarayan, they celebrate this festival. So celebrated all over India, in all different states. And you see this festival is characterized by one particular prasad they make. Like in South, they make this Sarkari Pongal, which is made with sweet, sugar. In Tamil Nadu, they make this Pongal made, which is actually not sweet, but actually more sour in Tamil Nadu. In Punjab, there we see they make rice mixed with sugarcane juice, and then they add they let that stay the night. The next day they add sugar, and then they curd, and then they make this kheer. In this way, they celebrate this festival all over India. This is like the beginning of the new year for many Indians, Makar Sankranti. Like in South India, especially in Karnataka, they make this Kobbamalu. Kobbamalu means these balls made of cow dung. These balls made of cow dung, they are mixed with mammalian, turmeric and other colored substances. And then they put it outside their homes. And then each ball of cow dung has 9 grains of rice, Navadhanya. Because they say this way they're inviting Goddess Lakshmi inside their homes. And this way they even celebrate this kite festivals begins from today. They start flying kites because they say the kite represents the Jiva and the sky is like Paramatma, so the Jiva strength. So in this way also there's also like another big festival where according to their own traditions they follow in South. I've seen by my own eyes. There's this Jalakittu where they organize bullfighting and then buffalo fighting. So many different customs they have. They all begin from this day. It's a very auspicious festival for like many Indians. Like this festival everyone follows, regardless of whoever they are. And even this Pongal is they celebrate 3 days, not just one day. First they celebrate this Bogi Pongal. They celebrate this Bogi Pongal where they offer different kinds of rice items. And then they celebrate the Surya Pongal, where on the second day they worship Surya Dev. And the third day Mattu Pongal, where they again offer different kinds of rice items. So this way this festival is deeply rooted in culture. This Makar Sankranti, very deeply rooted. And we see why is it called Makar Sankranti? What is the meaning? Makar means what? So we know that this world is divided into 3 regions. This Tropic of Cancer, Equator and Tropic of Capricorn. These are the 3 medians which divide the earth. So we know that Tropic of Capricorn comes below the equator and Tropic of Cancer comes above. So in this way, the Sanskrit terminology for all these terms is Makara, which is like Tropic of Cancer, Karkar Rekha, which is the Tropic of Capricorn, and the equator is known as Bhumadhya Rekha. Bhumadhya means it's passing through the middle of the earth. So when the sun is passing through this, is going to go through this Uttarayan, which is this Markar Rekha, Markar Rashi, then it is known as Makar Sankranti. Therefore, it's said that on this tithi, the sun is going to Uttarayan, it's going north. Therefore, like we see in Gujarat, they name this festival only as Uttarayan. And because this festival is taking place in this Magh Mas, like in some states, they celebrate Magh Biha in Assam, Maghi in Punjab, because it corresponds to the very month, this Magh Mas. So in this way, it is said when the sun goes to Uttarayan, then this is the sun god, Suryadev, he has like these 7 horses. And each horse represents one particular color of this rainbow. rainbow has this name, Vibgyor. Vibgyor means violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. These 7 colors, they mix together. So this way, the rainbow is created. So the horses of the sun, each of them represents one particular color. And by these 7 horses, the sun, who has is very effulgent. It said he's going through this Uttarayan phase. So we know that the sun actually, where does he get his power from? When we chant the Brahma Gayatri, Gurudev mentions that Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi means what? You're not actually worshipping the sun god. Deva means Krishna and Bhargo means Srimati Radhika herself. She is the effulgence, she is the power of Krishna. And it is by the power of Srimati Radhika that the sun god gets his power from. Like we've heard also from the Vaishnavas that Vrishabhanu Maharaj, like we hear how even Garuda, he became Sridham in Braj. So similarly, like in one way we see that the sun god, he also desired to take part in Braj Leela. So then he took shelter of Vrishabhanu Maharaj. So like in one way he entered into the body of Vrishabhanu Maharaj, the sun god. Therefore, like we see that when Krishna, he left Vrindavan, went to Mathura and Dwaraka, then it is said that Radharani, along with Vishaka, because Vishaka is like Kalindi, Yamuna, the daughter of the sun god, then it is said they entered into the orbit of the sun, the rays of the sun, and then they were born there in Dwaraka. Radharani appeared as Satyabhama, and Vishaka appeared as Mitravinda, and Lalita appeared as Jambavati. In this way, Rupa Goswami is described in Lalit Madhav. So in this way, everyone worships the sun on this tithi, but actually the sun, where does he get his power from? Swarup Shakti, Srimati Radhika herself. And then we see that Gurudev himself would say that anyone who has any connection with Vedic culture, he'll go bathe in a river, because it's very auspicious to bathe now in a river. Gurudev would say, when I was a small boy, I remember, it would be so cold. The ghats would be full of lakhs of people, he'd say. Like we've been hearing this Harikatha, how the Ganga was only like 5 kilometers away from Gurudev's village. And he'd go every day to bathe in the Ganga. He said, I sit on the shoulders of my father, and he said, although I was a small boy, I'd jump inside the Ganga, he'd say. Lakhs of people would be bathing in the Ganga today on this day. Ganga, Yamuna, any river. Because there are different kinds of bath. The best kind of bath is to take bath in a river, or the ocean. The second kind of bath is to take a bath in the pond. Third kind of bath is the bath that we normally have in the bathroom and all these things. This is the best kind of bath. So in this way, Gurudev there, he would jump inside and he'd say that in this tithi, so much charity is given. Like we see, Gurudev speaks on nice history also about this charity from Mahabharata. He says that once Yudhishthir, he was in his palace, he was resting. Then he saw some swans flying above him. So then these swans, one of the swans was saying, oh, there is no greater donor than Yudhishthir. Yudhishthir is the best person who gives in charity. Then the other swan said, he may be a very charitable person, but actually he has so much, therefore he is giving. But if you really want to know who is very charitable, then there's one Raikya Muni. If you go to this Raikya Muni, he is really charitable. What does Raikya Muni do? Whenever there's a harvest, because today on the Sankranti it said like the harvest season begins. The rice is harvested and all these things. So whenever there's a harvest, and whatever grains fall off, when the farmers are collecting, only few grains, he collects all those grains. And what does he do? Even before he gives it to his family or anyone else, he gives these grains away to the sadhus. It is said once Durvasa Rishi, he came to Raikya Muni. And Raikya Muni, he had saved a handful of grains to feed his entire family. But Durvasa Rishi, he came there and Raikya Muni fed everything to him. This happened for so many times. And Raikya Muni, he fasted the whole time. Durvasa Rishi was testing him. So in this way, when they saw that Raikya Muni, he was doing this. Whatever grains would fall off from the paddies, he'd collect that. Few grains, and then he'd cook, and then he'd offer that to Krishna and distribute it to everyone. And then whatever little was left from there, he'd give to his family, and he'd honor that. So then Yudhishthir, and he had many instructions from Raikya Muni. So Gurudev, he speaks about that history. But ultimately we see that what is the best kind of charity in this world. Even if today you go, the Brajvasis, they'll give you so much rice with dal, and then they'll give you so many things. What is the best kind of charity? We see in our Puranas, so many histories are given. We see that Harishchandra, he gave so much in charity. But you see, Vishwamitra Rishi, he wanted to test Harishchandra. He was telling him that what you believe in charity is not actually charity. So then we know that Harishchandra gave everything away to Vishwamitra in a dream. And then Vishwamitra also said, you should give me 10,000 gold coins as dakshina. And then he tried telling his treasurer to give these 10,000 gold coins away, but Vishwamitra said, "You're a liar. When this entire kingdom is mine, how is this treasury yours? Even this is mine." And he said, "What should I do?" Then he said, "You go to Kashi. Kashi is not part of this material world. It is situated on the Trishul of Shiva." So then he sold his wife, Saibya, his son Rohitasva, and then anyhow. So Vishwamitra was teaching him that what is charity. So many histories are there. Like we see Maharaj Sibi. Maharaj Sibi, he was once in his palace, and one eagle was chasing a pigeon. So then this eagle was chasing a pigeon, and this pigeon came and sat on his lap. And he said, "Oh, save me, save me, save me." Then this eagle came, told Maharaj Sibi, "That pigeon is my food, give it to me." And Maharaj Sibi said, "I'm a king. Anyone who takes shelter of me once, how can I reject that person?" So then Maharaj Sibi said, "All right. You take as much flesh as you want, which is equivalent to the weight of this pigeon." So then there was a scale, and then he cut part of his body, cut part of his thigh here. He put it there. But then the scale was not equal yet. Then he cut his leg, then he cut his hands. And finally, he himself sat on the scale. So then he saw that eagle was Yam Maharaj himself, and that pigeon was Indra. So this way they were actually testing Maharaj Sibi, how charitable he was. But still, is that also charity? He's giving his own body. Like we see Dadichi Rishi also, Dadichi. See the demigods, they went to Dadichi. They said, "You'll have to give us your bones. From these bones, you'll make a thunderbolt to kill this Vritrasur." And Dadichi said, "All right, then you can wait for me. When I leave my body, you can take it." They said, "No, while you're still alive." So then he put gourd all over his body, this jaggery, and then the cows started licking, and then gradually these bones, they made a thunderbolt while life was still present. But still, is that also charity? In one way, that's like satkarma. It's very pious activity, you're giving yourself. But what is really charity? Charity means Prabhupada says, that we are ready to spend even millions of gallons of blood to change one person and bring him to this path of Krishna Bhakti. This is real charity. This kind of charity, all this satkarma, you see, one will go to heaven, he'll enjoy so much. But this kind of charity never yields any such reaction. So this is the best kind of charity, to bring one person to the path of Krishna Bhakti, to engage in Shravan, Kirtan, Smaran, Navada Bhakti, in all these ways. So this kind of charity should be given in this tithi of Makara Sankranti. And we see Bhishma also, he actually disappeared during the Uttarayan period. He was waiting for the time, because it said these 6 months beginning from Makara Sankranti are very auspicious, more than even Dakshinayan. So therefore Bhishma, he waited for this time and he entered into the eternal world, Vaikunta. So therefore we see that this Makar Sankranti itself especially is celebrated in Ganga Sagar. Like we heard this Harikatha the day before. How Parjana Rishi himself wanted to go bathe in Ganga Sagar on this tithi. And he requested Nanda that please tell your son. And then we heard how Krishna himself, he said, "Oh, why should we go there? I'll invite all the tirthas here. No need to go there." And then Krishna, he invited Makar Sankranti, this Ganga Devi here, near Giriraj. And then we heard this tithi, we heard this Leela. How the Sakas, they were saying, "Oh, this is not actually Ganga Devi, it's like some water from the drain." And then, where is Sri Hari then? The water is coming from him. Then Krishna, he showed them this Chaturbuj, Narayan deity of Haridev, saying, "See, Ganga is coming from him." And then the Sakis, they were so much in Man, saying, "Oh, there's someone else in your mind and heart, because Mansi Ganga." Then he said, "No, Mansi Ganga means like, she's appearing to please all you Brajvasis." And we see Giriraj himself, he's taking a bath and he submerged himself beneath Mansi Ganga. So here we see, normally if one bathes in the Ganga, is freed of all sins. But if one bathes in Mansi Ganga, he'll get Braj Prem. More than that, he'll even get Radha Prem in this way. We see in Brajmandal, all the tirthas are present. Like we see in Giriraj, there's this Rinmochan Kund next to Giridhari Gaudiya Mat. So if you read the history there of this Rinmochan Kund, there they say actually Nanda, he wanted to go to Gaya to offer Pindadan to his ancestors. And Krishna said, "No need to go to Gaya. We'll call Gaya here." So if one goes to this Rinmochan Kund, does Achman there, then he gets the fruit of going to Gaya 1,000,000 times. Right there. And you see Pavan Sarovar also. Pavan Sarovar, we see Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati themselves used to come and bathe there. Nanda, he saw these 3 effulgent goddesses bathing there. And then he realized, who are they? And then he was thinking. Then he realized that Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati themselves were bathing there in Pavan Sarovar. All these tirthas, they've taken shelter here. Because Braj is the heart of Krishna. We see that Prayag Tirtharaj, once he came to Krishna and he was complaining that you made me Prayag Tirtharaj, the king of all pilgrimage places, but how am I Tirtharaj if Vrindavan is not coming to me? Then he said, Vrindavan is my heart. He said. Like Gurudev explains one more history. He says that once Parvati Devi, she became very tired because these two demons, these two brothers, they tried carrying her on their shoulders and she became Bhuvaneshwari, and because of her weight, they collapsed, these two demons. And then she said, now I'm very tired now. And then Shivji said, all right, I'll invite every Tirthas, and every Tirtha should come and give one drop here. So every Tirtha came and offered one drop of their Tirtatva, of their sanctity. In this way, that entire Sarovar became known as Bindu Sarovar, because they all came and offered one drop. But Gurudev said, did Brajmandal come there? Brajmandal did not come there, because Brajmandal is now an ordinary Tirtha. This way, all these Tirthas, they take shelter here in Braj. So therefore, Ganga Devi also came here in this way. And we see so many Leelas took place that didn't even take place on Ganga. Like Nauka Vihar Leela we heard the other day. Did that ever take place there in Ganga? So therefore, so much fortunate that Mansi Ganga is right here nearby. And we see the history of Ganga Devi, how she descended to this world, is so wonderful, so beautiful. Because you see, Ganga is so revered in this world. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written one article on the glories of Ganga Devi. There he said some British scientists, they took some water from the Ganga and they took it back to England, to their country. There they saw the water of the Ganga was still so pure. There is no contamination whatsoever. Even now, recently, the Indian government, they started one project called Namami Gange. So this Namami Gange, they want to clean Ganga Devi. They're spending like billions of rupees cleaning Ganga Devi. And then some people actually, like some of these scientists, they actually said that Ganga Devi is actually cleaning her own self, if you see. They're dumping so many chemicals in there, so many things, and from these factories, all these things, but still Ganga Devi on her own, she's becoming pure. They're saying. This is not like some speculation. Ganga Devi on her own, she's becoming pure. Like you see. So they say, how did she descend to this world? So then we'll have to go like very back into history, where we hear that we have to begin with Sagar Maharaj. So Sagar Maharaj, he was son of Bahuda. So they belong to this Ikshvaku dynasty, where Ram himself appeared. So Bahuda, he had two wives, and one of his wives was named Yadavi. So Bahuda, he was king of Ayodhya, but he was driven out by this Tal Janga. So Tal Janga, he was from the Hai dynasty. So Hai dynasty is the dynasty in which this Kritya Virarjun appeared. So we know this Kritya Virarjun, he was the enemy of Parasuram. So then he drove this Bahuda out of his kingdom. So then Bahuda, he took shelter of this Aura Rishi. And Aura Rishi, he was the grandson of Vatsa Rishi. This Sri Vatsa Gotra comes from him, from Vatsa Rishi. And this Aura Rishi, his grandson was Ruchika. And Ruchika was the grandfather of Parasuram. Ruchika's son was Jamadagni, and Jamadagni's son was Parasuram. So in this way, Aura Rishi, he was actually born when the Kshatriyas were fighting with the descendants of Bhrigu dynasty. So in this way, because that time, the Kshatriyas had become very powerful. They thought they'd even become greater than these Brahma Rishis. Therefore, this war was going on. So then, this Bahuda, while he was there in the hermitage of this Rishi, Aura Rishi, there his wife became pregnant. And then when she was 7 months pregnant, her co-wife, what did she do? She poisoned her. She poisoned her and the baby was not coming out of the womb. It seemed the baby was like stillborn. The baby is going to die in the mother's womb. So then when the baby was going to die in the mother's womb, then Aura Rishi, then this Bahuda, he died actually, this king. So then that time we know the practice is when the king dies, the queen has to enter into the fire. This is called sati, this practice. So then as she was about to enter into the fire, then Aura Rishi said, don't go inside the fire. Your son, there's going to be a very great son born to you. So don't enter into the fire. And then 7 years she held the baby inside her womb. And after 7 years he was born. And he was called Sagar. So Aura Rishi said he's called Sagar. So Gar means like poison. So despite being poisoned, still he was born. So I'll name this boy Sagar. So when you say Sagar Maharaj, he was very pious. He was born in the Rishi's ashram. So then the Ayodhya-vasis, this Tal Janga was troubling them so much. So then the Ayodhya-vasis, they went to Vashishta Rishi. And they told Vashishta Rishi that kindly help us. Then Vashishta Rishi said, Sagar is actually the son of Bahuda and he's a great king. So all of you go there. Then all of them went and they stood for 5 days outside Aurya Rishi's his ashram. They said, please give us this boy. So then Aurya Rishi said, all right. And then Sagar, he also asked his mother, who is my father? And then she said, like, this particular person has driven your father out. So then Sagar Maharaj, he went with all the Ayodhya-vasis and he defeated this Tal Janga and he took back Ayodhya in this way. And then Sagar Maharaj, he went all over India, conquering India. North, south, everywhere. He especially wanted to conquer Mahishmati, where all these descendants of Tal Janga lived, this clan. So then when he was conquering all these different places, then he had 2 wives, this Keshini and Sumati. So then he didn't have any children. So then he prayed to Bhrigu Rishi, saying, please help me, please bless my 2 wives with children. Then Bhrigu Rishi said, all right, 1 wife will have 1 son and the other wife will have 60,000 sons. So then Sumati, she had 60,000 sons, and Keshini, she had 1 son, who was Asamanjas. And Sumati, actually, when she gave birth, it was like a lump of flesh. There were 60,000 sons went born. Then Sagar was thinking, what to do now? Then Shivji himself came, and then he made sure that 60,000 most effulgent sons were born from this lump of flesh in this way. So then we know that Asamanjas, he was very evil actually. He threw the children into the Saryu river. He do many evil things. So Sagar Maharaj, he sent him out of the kingdom. Go away from here. He said, and then Asamanjas, he started going out. He started doing austerities. He started growing his hair, all these things. And Gurudev actually says that Asamanjas, he founded Islam. Islam came from him, from Asamanjas. And then Kal Yavan, he continued his line in this way. And then now we see the descendants of Asamanjas and Kal Yavan are all over the world now. In this way. So then we see that in this way, Asamanjas, he was there, and then the 60,000 sons. So then Sagar Maharaj, he was performing this yagya. And then we know that when he was performing this yagya, Indra, he came and he stole his horse away. Why? Because Sagar Maharaj, for whom was he doing this yagya? He himself wanted to go to heaven. Ashwamedha yagya. And he wanted to enjoy. On the other hand, we see Indra, he came to test this Kuru Maharaj. No, Kurukshetra is named after him. He tried testing Kuru Maharaj. Every time he'd ask him, why are you doing this yagya? 100 times, 200 times. But still Kuru Maharaj, he was very patient. He didn't say anything. But here we see Sagar Maharaj, on the other hand, he became very impatient. And Indra, he knew this. So he stole the horse away. So then we know when he stole the horse away, then he hid it there, where Kapil Rishi was present in Patal Lok. So then what happened? His 60,000 sons, they went looking for that horse. And then they started digging so much, all the way to Patal Loka. And it said the oceans are actually found because of them. All these oceans that we see, Atlantic Ocean, Pacific, all these different oceans were found because they were digging so much. And it said because they were digging so much, they were sweating so much, the ocean was formed from their sweat. In this way. That's why the ocean water is very salty. In this way. So then they were digging, they digged so much, they went all the way down to the places where the Ashtadigajas stay. So who are the Ashtadigajas? They're the 8 elephants who guard the 8 directions. This northeast, southwest, and this way, northwest, southeast, these 8 directions, these Ashtadigajas, these 8 elephants are there. They carry, it said they're standing on this Kurmadev and then they're carrying these universes. In this way. The Ashtadigajas also, very powerful elephants. Even their names are mentioned in the Ramayana. They're called Airavat, Supratika, Sarvabhauma, Anjana, Vamana, Pundarika. In this way, these 8 elephants. And also there are 4 elephants there in Pataloka, below them also, who are guarding the universes, carrying them. There's Virupaksha, Bhadra, Saumanasa, this Mahapadmasana, all these. So then these 60,000 sons, they did parikrama of all these Ashtadigajas. And these Ashtadikgajas, they also have female elephants, Ashtadikkarinis. So this way they did parikrama of all these different Diggajas, but still they couldn't find the horse. And then they came there. And then we hear what they did. And Kapil Rishi, he burnt them to ashes. So then it is said that Sagar Maharaj, he was thinking, where are my sons? So he was like very upset. But Asamanjas, he had one very pious son, Anshuman. So Anshuman was very pious. So he asked his grandfather. So then he went and he met Kapil Rishi. And Kapil Rishi said that your ancestors can only be delivered if you bring the water of the Ganga. So then Anshuman couldn't do anything. So then Sagar Maharaj, he ruled the world for like some years after that, and he left his body thinking about his sons. And then Anshuman, he had one son, Dilip. And Dilip also was very pious, but he couldn't do much. So then we hear that Kapil Rishi, he told Anshuman, your grandson, he will deliver your ancestors. And then who was born? Bhagirath was born. And we hear actually that Bhagirath, when he was born, it is said he was born from the union of two women. So his body was like, basically like a lump of flesh. He had no bones, nothing. And then once they threw him out then, saying, what is the use of such a baby? Then Ashtavakra Rishi, he came there and he saw this baby, he was crooked in all places. Then Ashtavakra Rishi is very sensitive. If anyone makes jokes about his physical appearance, he becomes very angry. So then he saw the baby was making fun of him. In this way, because he is crooked in 8 places. Then Ashtavakra Rishi said, if you're really making fun of me this way, then you'll remain like this the rest of your life. But if you're not making fun of me and this is your real physical appearance, then you'll grow up to be a great king. This katha we heard from the Vaishnavas over the years. So then we hear that he grew up to be Bhagirath Maharaj. Then we hear that he prayed to Brahma that how can I deliver my ancestors? He prayed to the sun god. Sun god told him go to Brahma. And then Brahma, he has this drop of the causal ocean that Vamandev has. When he stepped on the causal ocean, one drop Brahma collected in his kamandalu. So then he asked Brahma, please give me like one drop of that drop you have collected. So then Brahma said, even that one drop of a drop, the world cannot contain the force. You'll have to pray to Shiv Thakur. And then he prayed to Shiv Thakur. Shiv Thakur said, all right. And then what did he do? Because he had drunk poison from the churning of the ocean, there was so much heat in his heart. So he was thinking, I have to cool this heat. So then this drop of a drop fell and then he put Ganga on his head. But still he won't release it. Then again he did austerities to please Shiv Thakur. And then Shiv Thakur said, all right, one drop I'll release now. And then one drop he started releasing. And then we hear that this Ganga Devi came with so much force. So we hear that the original stream of Ganga is called Bhagirathi. And then there Panchaprayag in this Badrinath, near Badri and Kedar, there Panchaprayag. So then in this Vishnu Prayag, where Narad Rishi received the mercy darshan of Vishnu, there it is said that Alakananda is another tributary of Ganga, another stream. Alakananda mixes with Daumali Ganga. And then she proceeds from there, from Vishnu Prayag to Nanda Prayag. And then Nanda Prayag, there's another stream of Ganga known as Nandakini. So then Alakananda mixes there, already mixed with Daumali Ganga, she mixes with Nandakini. And then she goes to Karna Prayag. And Karna Prayag, there's another river there called Pindara. So there, again Alakananda is already mixed with Daumali Ganga and Nandakini mixes there with Pindara. And then she comes from there to Rudra Prayag. And Rudra Prayag, there's another stream of the Ganga known as Mandakini. So then already these 3 rivers, this Alakananda, Daumali Ganga, Nandakini, they mix with Mandakini. And then in Dev Prayag, it is said Alakananda and Bhagirathi, they mix together. There's a confluence. And then the Ganga flows down in this Indo-Gangetic plain. She's flowing down from there, all the way down, purifying everyone. And even now we know that even in Bangladesh, she's known as Meghna. Because this Brahman, he cursed Sagar Maharaj, the Ganga Devi. Because you have refused to come here, therefore you'll no longer be known as Ganga. You'll be known by a different name in this way. So therefore we see that the legacy of the Ganga is seen everywhere. Like we see that, lastly and with this now, we see that even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was born there on the banks of the Ganga. Parikshit Maharaj, he heard the Bhagavatam there on the banks of the Ganga in Sukurtal. Mahaprabhu performed so many leelas there, he becomes so angry if Ganga Devi wasn't even worshipped. And when Mahaprabhu took sannyas after 5 years, when he returned to Navadip Dham, he said, I want to see my 2 mothers, he said. One mother, my mother Sachi Devi, and I want to see my other mother, Ganga Devi, he said. And this way Mahaprabhu, he came there and performed so many leelas there with his devotees, like Kolavecha Sridhar, Vishnu Priya Devi, Pundri Vidyanidhi, how they bathed there, how much nishtha they had in bathing the Ganga in this way. So therefore, Ganga is like a very integral part of Krishna Leela, Gaur Leela, Ramchandra Leela, and very integral part of the sadhan bhajan of the bhaktas. The foottest of all the bhaktas are found there in the Ganga. So therefore, in this Tithi, everyone from all corners of the world, like we see even Ganga Mata Goswamini, she wanted to bathe on this Tithi, Makar Sankranti. And then we see Ganga Devi herself came there to Jagannath Puri as Shweta Ganga. And then anyone who has a bath in Shweta Ganga, they get the fruit of bathing in the Ganga there also. Anyone who's committed any offense to Mahaprasad, it is said that in Jagannath Puri, if you step on Mahaprasad, you get elephantiasis. Elephantiasis is when your leg becomes very big. But still, if anyone has committed any offense to Mahaprasad, if they take a bath in Shweta Ganga, they'll be freed of that offense, it is said. Because she's Patit Pavani. So it's a very auspicious Tithi, this Makar Sankranti, the beginning of new year, new beginning for like many of the people. So it's Mancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripasandabhyascha Vaitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. First of all, I offer my Sastang Dandavat Pranams and the lotus feet of our most worshipful Srila Gurudev. Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnupad Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Srila Guru Maharaj. To Arupanuga Guru Varga and all assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. So today, another festival we are observing. So this is called Makar Sankranti. This, the passage of time is being, it's like being monitored, being counted, and in this way, like people are remembering the events and keeping track of like the cycles of time. So therefore, they have calendars. So this calendar. There are many systems of calendar. For us, like many Vaishnavas, and many like Hindus, we follow the lunar calendar, meaning we are keeping track of the tithis. Tithis referring to actually the phases of the moon. So like today is Ashtami. Yesterday was Saptami. Now, when we talk about another system, they're keeping track through the sun. So mostly of our events are based on lunar, and these are based on Tithi, except one or two, and where we follow certain like festivals or events, but not based on Tithi. So this Makar Sankranti is not based on Tithi, is based on the sun's position. So when the sun enters a particular Sankranti, which is like a particular location where like a zodiac on the path of the sun, when it enters, then that's like Sankranti. It's like the beginning of the solar month. So today it is said that now the sun is like on this day, starting from like 7:15, will enter into this Makar Rasi, from Sagittarius to Capricorn, like this. And every month there's always this Sankranti. But this Makar Sankranti is actually the one that's celebrated like and all. Even as Vaishnavas and and other who are following the lunar calendar, they observe this Sankranti. There's another Sankranti which marks in like an event which we follow, like in Kartik time. There's Tulya Sankranti, where the sun enters Libra, and really that is like Kartik, beginning of Kartik by solar calendar, and therefore on that particular day, whether already Kartik has started or have not started, but on this Sankranti, then there's deep dawn. Like we follow this deep dawn vow, like we offer lamps to the sky. So sometimes this is like delayed. Kartik already finished and we're still continuing this because we are following this based on the solar system. So of all the Sankrantis, this Makar Sankranti, this is the one that's like very famous and everyone following. And how is that? Because it is said that starting on this point of time, then the sun now goes back. The sun moves in a cycle, and so before that is going southward, and having all these like seasons of like winter now. But then now from this Makar Sankranti, then sun now going back northward, and it marks, and for many this marks like, oh, this is the end of winter, like this, the beginning of like a new cycle. So this is a significance there. It's like, oh, it's the beginning of the new cycle of the sun's, and therefore, like in any tradition, so not just Vaishnavas, in any tradition, they make festival for this, for auspiciousness. And what is that? How they follow. So they do like a festival of harvest, like whatever. It's like oh, now it's harvest season, like this. Or they go play outside and make this kite festival, and of course, like very common, or they make a feast, and oh, whatever nice preparations, and in this way, they're able to follow something that will remind them, oh, life is like a cycle, and oh, we should not waste time. We should always be reminded to be pure, and therefore, on this festival also, then one of the main activities is that taking bath. And so then, where to take bath, or why you take bath? Because now it's like a new day. It's like when you wake up, and then it's always best to become fresh. Forget about the ignorance. So, on a daily basis, the sun rises, and then it marks the beginning of the day. And so, what do? And you take bath. That is the advice, like practice. I know many people, then they're not into this. They just like sleep. But it's so auspicious. You come fresh, wake up, and especially remembering the Supreme Lord in a fresh mind, and welcoming this time, praying for auspiciousness. So in many traditions, and these are all by recommendations, by the practice of many sadhus, then they're following all these different ways of observing these festivals. So especially for Gaudiyas, then we can see how the Vaishnavas are observing this day. And they recommend to many people also. And they're inspiring like people like karmis or gyanis, not just for the devotees, but to everyone, that on this day, try to become, welcome the new time with purity. oh, go bathe. Especially if we're here in Braj, then say, oh, go to Giri, oh, take bath in Manasiganga, like this. And for many people, then of course they remember the Ganga Devi, and therefore they have this big festival in Ganga Sagar. Sometimes it is said that it is the day when, this is the time when Ganga reached the ocean. But either way, it's very auspicious on this day, and that's one of the highlight activity on this day, and especially on that very specific time when the sun enters this Sankranti. Then at that point, like, oh, very auspicious, they go bathe. And this is why this Kumbh Mela, it starts on this day. Kumbh Mela, wherein like all these different types of sadhus from all different types of like groups, then they gather and take bath. And that marks the beginning of this Kumbh Mela, because it's like a whole like period. So on this Makar Sankranti, then for us it is like would be a reminder for us that just as like time is said, time is Krishna, and the devotees never want to waste like time. It said a devotee who has attained his like rati, there's some symptoms. Shantir, Avyarta Kalatvam, Viraktir, Manasunyata, and so on. So one of there is Avyarta Kalatvam. Avyarta Kalatvam is like never he wants to waste like any time. Like every time has to be used in the service of Krishna or in developing this relationship with Bhagavan. So the time becomes like Udipan. And so especially on this day, he said like everyone is worshipping the sun. Everyone is worshipping the sun. And we see also at Brijbasis, like Srimati Radharani, every day worshipping the sun. But these are all in relation for Krishna. It's like a pretext. By doing Surya Puja, then Krishna is able to meet Radharani, Radha is able to meet Krishna, like this. Sometimes I hear from local Brijbasis, they said the only reason why really Radharani worshipping the sun is because she always pray that the sun will, because most of their aspiration is to have very long meeting with Krishna. And most of the time, the only time really that they can meet with Krishna is in the night, when there's no sun and everyone's asleep. So one of their like prayers that you delay from rising, so then we have more time like staying and meeting with Krishna. So we also as Vaishnavas, we can see the movements of the moon and the sun. We should only be to like remember Krishna and his devotees. So while others on particular tithi, like today, they would pray for wealth, and they would pray for some auspiciousness. Like one of the most famous time for giving charity is today. So then it's all based on like what I get in return, and that is like for my sense gratification, like this. Or maybe it's just like okay to fulfill my duty, dharma. So mostly people following by this is like dharma, artha, kam, moksha. Highest is like for liberation. And they can pray. They pray to the sun. They pray to Ganga, or they go to some sadhus also. On this day, they go to some sadhus and offer like their harvest and so forth. So, but we are reminded that this is not the goal of life. Goal of life is really highest perfection of this love for Bhagavan, this prem. So we observe this time only for that aspiration that this time in this world, you cannot stop the passage of time. And now it's just reminding us of this, how this time goes on and on. And our only aspiration is that as time goes on, then our love becomes more and more strong for Bhagavan. So we take the inspiration of the Brijbasis, our Guru Varga. And so on this festival, the only way really we can follow nicely this festival is in the association of the devotees. And we can see how they are observing, how they are doing nice offerings for Thakurji, and doing Harikatha, reminding us of the love of in that world, in the spiritual world, and of course in Sankirtan. So, praying at the Lord's feet of Shri Guru and the Vaishnavas, then we try to observe nicely this festival of Makar Sankranti. Vancha kalpataru vyascha kripasindu vacha patitanam Vishnu.
Hari kabe mor hoibe surina. Hari kabe mor hoibe surina. Bhaji basi Radha Krishna hoibe modina. Bhaji basi Radha Krishna hoibe Navina